Hello, I'm with Farm and Food Care Executive Director Clint Monchuk today. Clint, can you tell us just a little bit about yourself and your role here?
Sure. So my name is Clint Monchuk. I'm the Executive Director for Farm and Food Care Saskatchewan. I have really a diverse background. I grew up on a family farm here in Saskatchewan outside of Lanigan. Took some education, decided to try Mexico out for size for a little bit, went down to Mexico, did some teaching, some research at the Universidad de Guadalajara. When I came back, did some economic work for the beef industry here in Saskatchewan, and then moved down to Washington, D.C., where I did some lobbying work for American farmers and ranchers, specifically around trade, and then moved to Ottawa, where I did the same thing for Canadian farmers and ranchers. From that, worked for the Saskatchewan chicken industry for about 10 years, and now here with Farm and Food Care Saskatchewan. So just a little bit about Farm and Food Care Saskatchewan, because some of your listeners may not understand who we are. So we're really a group that's aiming to have conversations with consumers about food and farming. Our members with Farm and Food Care Saskatchewan are pretty much all the commodity groups from Saskatchewan. We have sponsors who are individuals or groups like the Ministry of Agriculture here in Saskatchewan, different agribusinesses, distillers like Great Western here in Saskatoon. We also have different groups that would be a part of our farm tours, like LB Distillers or companies like French's Mustard, who are big parts of what we're doing. Sobeys is another sponsor of ours for our Chef Series, which I'll talk about later, but all in an effort really to make sure consumers understand the real truth about agriculture and how farmers and ranchers grow their food.
So Farm and Food Care was set up to help communicate the value of Saskatchewan agricultural products. So you just mentioned several of the groups that support you.
Right.
And for those groups, what are the kinds of things that you do, that Farm and Food Care does?
So we provide some industry training on a variety of different levels. One is interview training. So if your commodity group or your organization wants some higher end media training, we offer media training to get you ready, in the case that you have an emergency response or just general public relations, to get you ready in front of a camera to make sure you can talk and convey your message to the audience. Another great one is what we call speak up training. And really with speak up training, we're trying to give confident conversations to farmers to speak to consumers. So this is trying to understand a little bit more behind what motivates consumers, try and figure out those shared values that you can relate to consumers on, and then actually getting your message across to them in a engaging manner. On top of that, we also have what we call farm tour training, and we have one coming up in Regina later on this month. And the focus of that is just how to prepare your yard, things, do's and don'ts, I guess you could say, of farm tours. And again, understanding who's coming out to your farm. So if it's school-age children, the conversation's going to be a little bit different than if you have, say, dietitians coming out to your farm, or say politicians. So understanding those differences and how to prepare your farm to have an effective farm tour.
So you provide basic tools for groups, individuals, farmers, to really be able to communicate the story of agriculture far more effectively.
Exactly. And we're trying to give as many tools for the farmers and ranchers as possible to make sure that engagement happens.
So on top of that, you do other things. You do things like Taste of Saskatchewan and some other things.
Yes.
Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to just let people know about so that they can participate? Yes.
So a great one is Taste of Saskatchewan. So Taste of Saskatchewan, for those who don't know, is an event downtown Saskatoon, right beside the Besborough Hotel, where there's a variety of different restaurants that will come and have their food on display. But on top of that, what we have with Farm and Food Care Saskatchewan is we partnered with the SaskTel Center, and we have a Chef Series. So the Chef Series is kind of like a Top Chef cook-off competition, similar to Top Chef Canada, where we will bring in the top chefs from Saskatchewan. They'll prepare food. We'll have cameras set up. We'll have MCs who are local media or celebrities to talk about not only how the food is being prepared by these chefs, but also wider, talking about how that farmer grows that canola and what the difference between GMO and non-GMO canola is, and why farmers would use, say, antibiotics or hormones in beef production, to give a little bit of better understanding to consumers, so then they have the information they need to make informed decisions. Now, on top of this, on the Saturday, we're inviting farmers to come up. You can register on our website, which is farmfoodcaresk.org, to be one of the volunteer farmers. We have on the Saturday, it's called Meet a Farmer Day. So last year we had probably about 12 to 14 different farmers and ranchers that came. And here's just an opportunity for consumers to come, talk to real authentic farmers or ranchers, ask them questions. I had a lot of questions last year about things involving the chicken industry, and our farm has a layer operation, so I could answer questions specifically to the egg business. We had ranchers there, we had grain farmers talking about why they do the things they do, why we actually spray pesticides on our land to protect the food that we're growing, to make sure it's safe and nutritious. So things like that to get a better understanding with consumers about what we're doing. On top of that, we do have a farm tour coming up as well. And this is a high-end farm tour with food influencers from across North America. That's the weekend after the Chef Series. I believe it's the 24th, 25th, and 26th of July. And that focus is specifically on trying to get those food influencers to understand how a working farm is here in Saskatchewan. Let them see it, ask questions, and then what happens is those influencers then talk about their experience and showcase Saskatchewan agriculture throughout North America, which is an excellent opportunity to again engage consumers.
So you're always looking for farmers so that the people that you're bringing in to communicate about agriculture can have a visit with someone who's an actual farmer. So if farmers want to get involved, there's always a place for them to get involved and be a part of this.
Exactly. And there's lots of opportunities. We have, say, agriculture in the city events. That's in April. We have different events throughout the year. Barbecues during Agriculture Month, which is in October. There's a lot of different opportunities for farmers and ranchers to get engaged with us, and we welcome all the volunteers that we already have and the new volunteers that come to again make sure the message of truthful agriculture is discussed with consumers.
Well, thanks, Clint. It's very good to be with you here today. You've given a little background in terms of Farm Food Care Saskatchewan, and might help people because it hasn't been around for a while, for too long.
Right.
And so now people can see what it does and come along and participate. So thank you very much for welcoming me to your office today.
Thank you very much, Dale.